Good morning, students. Today we are going to start our new chapter, Theory of Supply. Dear student, in this chapter we will study about meaning of supply, type of supply, factors affecting supply, and supply schedule, supply curve. Okay, dear student, and then law of supply, then changes in quantity supplied, and next is change in supply. Okay, student, and in the last we will study about the elasticity of supply. As you know that elasticity of supply is similarly as elasticity of demand. Okay, so elasticity of supply, this is a whole chapter, but in your syllabus this chapter is included as a part of your current chapter, so there is no need to be worried. We will discuss this particular these particular concept in a separate video. Okay, dear student, now let us start with our today's chapter. The first is meaning of supply. Dear student, by supply of a commodity we mean the quantity offered for sale at a particular price and time by the producer. Okay, suppose a producer wish to sell mango, or producer wish to sell apple. So at the time, at a particular point of time, like today, okay, like on Monday, like on Sunday, so at a particular point of time whatever quantity he wishes to supply is simply known as supply of a commodity. Okay, student, so supply can be defined as a schedule of quantities that will be offered for sale at various prices. Okay, this part. Okay, student, now there are so many definitions given by different economists or scholars, but you have to you can go through these three different definitions, or in your for writing motive or for exam purpose you can choose only one of them. Like Professor Benham thus defines supply may mean the amount offered for sale per unit of time. Okay, per unit of time whatever amount is offered by the producer to sell, it's simply known as supply of a commodity. Dear student, there are certain features of supply like our demand. There are certain features which have to be fulfill so that we can say it is supply of a commodity. These features are following. There are three distinct features. First is desired quantity. Okay, desired quantity simply means this supply is a desired quantity because it is the desire of the producer to supply 200 mango. Okay, suppose, then it is not the willingness. So supply is the desired quantity. Okay, how much producer are willing to sell are not how much they are actually sell. Okay, there is different. Suppose a producer willing to sell 100 mangoes, but in the market he is not getting the price of 100 mango, that's why he is selling only 50 mango. So the willingness and the actual selling is totally different. Okay, he have 100 mangoes and he wish to sell 100 mangoes in rupees 50 per kg, but due to market, the prevailing price in market, suppose the price in market is rupees 30. So in the at that situation consumer is supplying only 50 quintal or 50 mangoes. Okay, 50 quintal of mangoes. So the willingness is different. Okay, this is the willingness and this is the actual supply. So the both the terms are different. Okay, student, next part is related to price. As we all know that like our demand, supply is also related to price. Okay, there is a direct relationship between price and supply of a commodity. If price increases, then supply of a commodity increases. Okay, this is the relation. Now why price, when price increases supply of a commodity increases? Dearest student, when price increases then producer wishes to supply more of a quantity to earn more profit. Okay, because at that time he thought that, oh, there is an increase in price of a commodity, it simply means I can get more profit from the market, that's why I wish to supply more in the market. That's why producer supply more when price increases, and when price of a commodity decreases, supply of a commodity decreases. Okay, dear student, so this is the relationship between price and supply. This is also known as law of supply, which we studied in our further section. Okay, student, so first point is desired quantity, second is related to price. Okay, the next point is flow. Dear student, this is important. Like demand, supply is also a flow concept. Now, why? What do you mean by flow concept? Dear student, flow concept simply means when you measure a certain quantity or any quantity or variable at a particular point of time, then it is known as flow concept. Like per day, per month, per annum. Okay, like this. When you measure the variable in per day, per month and per annum, then it is known as flow concept. That's why supply is a flow concept. Okay, like demand, supply is a flow variable, therefore supply refers to the amount which producer or sellers are willing to sell during a specific time period. As I told you, the word specific, this is important, specific time period, like per day, per month and per annum. Okay student, now our next point is difference between supply and stock. Dear student, both the concept are totally different. Okay, like supply and stock. Supply is a part of a student. Dear student, always remember, keep in mind that supply is a part of stock. Stock simply represent the total quantity, the total available quantity of a commodity with the producer. It is simply known as stock, and the supply is the quantity at he wishes to offer in the market. It is a part of stock. Okay, he wished to offer, okay, for sale at a particular price at a particular point of time. It is known as supply. So we can see the difference with the help of table. First meaning, supply is that part of stock which is offered for sale which changes with change in price. Okay, it is a part of stock and it offers for sale when changes with changes in price. Okay, your price changes, your supply changes. Now stock indicate total quantity. Always remember that total quantity of the commodity available for sale. Okay, suppose I am the seller and I have 1000 and mango. Okay, this is the stock, and suppose at rupees 50 I wish to sell only 100 mango, and for rupees when the price is rupees 100, when I wish to sell 500 mangoes. This is supply. That's why supply and stock are different concept. Next point is nature. Supply is a flow concept, as I told you, as it is related to a period of time, and the stock is not a flow concept. Okay, it is a stock concept because stock is measured at a particular point of time and supply is measured at a specific point of time. Okay student, that's why they both are different. Last one is relation. Supply is always less than the stock except in case of perishable goods. Okay, as I told you that I have 1000 mangoes but I wish to supply only 100, 500. So supply is always less than stock. Stock is of 1000 mango but I wish to supply only 100 mango. That's why it is different. Only in the case of perishable goods, like perishable goods are those goods like vegetables, like fruit. Okay, those who get what we say, that those who get vanished, or who get who only go for a short period of time, like 2-3 days, or who have a short span of time, all those goods are perishable goods. Okay, so we have to consume those goods in a short period of time, like our milk, our curd. Okay, these all are perishable goods, like our vegetable, fruits. Okay, in this case supply may be differ. Okay, now if we talk about stock is always greater than supply except in the case of perishable goods. Both the case of perishable goods, the concept of supply and stock may be differ, but generally stock is greater than supply. Okay, as I told you, like I have 1000 mangoes. Okay, I have 1000 mangoes, this is our stock, and suppose I wish to sell only 500 mangoes or 400 mangoes, then this is supply concept. Okay, so the both are different. Now move to our next point, which is type of supply. Dear student, there are different type of supply, but we have to strict only we have to study or strict only two type of supply, which is individual supply and market supply. But for your knowledge, I am going to share, I am going to explain all these type. First is market period supply. Dear student, market period supply is also known as stand supply. Okay, stand supply means, suppose I wish to buy a pizza right now, so I have to fulfill the demand of pizza by the producer right now. So this is known as instant supply. So there is no adjustment in the case of instant supply or a market period supply. You have to fulfill the demand on the period of time. If you have the stock, then you will fulfill the demand. If you don't have the stock, then you will not fulfill the demand, and you will not switch for the next day. Okay, I will fulfill your demand next day. So it is not possible in the case of market period supply. Okay, because the period is too short to adjust supply. Okay student, next point is short period supply. Short period supply basically represents for supply of a commodity within a short period of time. Okay, generally dear student, generally in economics we have two period, long period, short period. Short period is for only 1 year. Okay, sometimes it's depend upon commodity to commodity, sometimes it's for only 1 month, okay, 6 months, but the period between 1 month to 12th month, okay, it means period between 1 year, it's simply known as short period, and the period more than 1 year is known as long period in economics. Okay dear student, so short period supply means refers that time period which is not which is not sufficient to make major changes in supply as per the demand. Okay, as per the demand we cannot make a large change in the supply, because the goods because the factor of production which we have, we cannot change in short period of time. Suppose in short period of time you are producing suppose you have a firm and you are producing shirts. Okay, suppose in case you produce 1000 shirts, and the demand increases of 10,000 shirts, 1 lakh shirts. So it's not possible for you to make 1 lakh shirts or 2 lakh shirts in a short period of time, because you have only one machinery. Machinery is your capital. So if you wish to produce more of a commodity, you have to increase your capital, like machinery, like like amount of money which you want to spend, like raw material, okay, like labor. So for these factor of production, you need a long period of time. So that's why short period of time refers the time in which there is generally no change, or we cannot make major changes in the supply of a commodity. Okay student, now next is long period supply. Long period supply is normal supply, is that period which is sufficient long to make changes according to the requirement due to sufficient time, because it is long period, like more than 1 year. Okay, so firm or producer can, okay, bring changes in the technique of production, and they can produce more of a commodity, or they can change. Suppose I am producing as I told you in our example, I am the producer of shirt, and I am producing 2 or 3 shirt in a day, and if the demand is come for 1 lakh shirts, okay, then it's not possible for me to fulfill the demand in the short period. But in the long period, I will employ more person, I will employ more resources, and due to this I can increase the production and I can fulfill the demand. That's why this concept is known as long period supply. Okay dear student, now let's move to our next point, which is individual and market supply. Dear student, individual supply refers to the quantity of commodity which a firm is willing to produce and offer for sale at a particular price during a specific period. Okay, any individual, it is, we are talking about an individual, any individual, okay, who wishes to supply any quantity of a commodity, okay, at a specific period of time or price, it's simply known as individual supply. Okay, it's represent the supply of only one individual, not the firm, not the whole firm or the whole the company or industries. Okay, it's represent only one firm. Okay, suppose you have too many pizza makers, okay, but like you have Pizza Hut, Domino's, okay, and so many others, but we are talking about only one firm, like we are talking about only Pizza Hut, okay, like we are talking about only Domino's. So this is known as individual supply, when we talk about supply of an individual only, an individual producer. Okay student, next is market supply. Okay, market supply, if you talk about market supply, then market supply is the quantity that all the firm in the markets are willing to produce. Okay, all the firms like firm A, firm B, firm C are like to produce and offer for sale at a particular price during a specific period of time. It is known as market supply, or it is also known as industry supply. Okay student, suppose you have three firm A, suppose you have three firm A, B and C. Okay, all these three firms produces sugar. Okay, all these three firm produces sugar, and the price of sugar is rupees 30. Okay, all these three firm produces sugar at the price of rupees 30. Okay, at the price 30 they produce sugar. So suppose firm A produces 200 quintal of sugar, firm B produces 300 quintal of sugar, and firm C produces 250 quintal of sugar. So if we talk about individual supply, then it is, we are talking about only A or only B or only C. This is individual supply. But when we talk about market supply, then we add the quantity supplied of all the three from A plus B plus C, and the outcome which we get is total 750 quintal. So this 750 quintal is the market supply. Okay student, the summation of all the three producer like this is known as market supply. Okay my dear students, now move to our next point, which is factor affecting supply or determinants of supply. Dear student, like demand, we have so many factors which affect the supply of a producer. Okay, these are also known as the supply function variables. Okay, these variable influence the supply of a commodity. Okay, let us start. The first point is price of a commodity. Okay dear student, the price of a commodity is the primary or the most important determinant of supply. Okay, which determines supply. Initially, as I told you this, that when price of a commodity increases, its supply increases. Okay, when price of a commodity decreases, its supplies decreases. So there is a direct relationship between price and supply in the case of supply, and this is only because producers think that larger higher the price, higher the profit. So this is the motive of the producer, that's why he supply more when price increases. Okay student, our second point is price of other commodities. Okay, price of other commodities like substitute goods, like complementary goods, we have other commodities also, they influence the price of a particular commodity or the supply of a particular commodity. When price of all other commodities increases, it become more profitable for the producer to produce those commodities. Okay dear student, consequently the supply of the existing commodity falls, and vice versa. Thus the supply of a commodity depend upon the price of all other commodity. Okay, so the price of a price of a commodity is also depend upon the price of other commodity. Okay, because the price of other commodity increases, it becomes more profitable for the producer to produce those commodity. That's why he increases the supply of the commodity. Okay, next, goal of the firm. Okay, goal of the firm also determine the supply of a commodity. Like the supply of a commodity also depend upon the goal of a firm. Their goal may be profit maximization or sale maximization. These two terms, be careful in these two. Profit maximization, when you want to increase your profit. Sale maximization means when you want to increase your sales volume, it is known as sales maximization. So dear student, if the goal of the firm is to maximize profit, then more quantity will be supplied at higher prices. Okay, more quantity supplied at the higher prices. When your price high, you will supply more of a quantity. Okay, and if the firm want to maximize their sale, okay, they think that increase supply is a source of status or prestige in the market, then more quantity will be supplied even at the same price. Then quantity, okay, then quantity increases even price is constant, there is no change in price, or even at low price the quantity increases. Okay, so according to the approach of the producer, whether he can go for the profit maximization or sale maximization, it's also affect our supply curve. Okay, also affect our supply. So goal of a firm. Next point is price of factor of production. There are so many factor of production, okay, which affect the which affect our supply. Like we have raw material, okay, like we have plant, we have machinery, we have capital. So the supply of a commodity is also influenced by the price of a factor used in the production of that commodity. A fall in the production, which in turn will increase the production and supply due to rise in margin of profits. If on the other hand the price of factor of production rises, supply will decreases due to rise in cost and hence fall in margin of profit. Now what is this? What is this factor of production? Like we all have capital, We have raw material, we have labor, we have entrepreneur, etc. All these are factor of production. Dear student, when price of raw material increases, when price of labor increases, when price of capital increases, so it is difficult for a firm to produce goods. So in this time our supply start decreasing because of high production cost. Okay, dear student. And in the reverse, if price of these factor of production decreases, then it is easy for the producer to supply more of a commodity because of low cost. So in this case the supply start increasing. That's why price of factor of production affect our supply. Next is state of technology. It also affect our supply. If we are using advanced and improved technology, then then supply of the producer increases, and if he is using low quality of technology or older technology, then supply of the commodity falls down or at a constant scale or at a constant scale. Next is nature of producer. Nature of producer also influence the supply of a commodity. Like if the number of firm producing a particular commodity increases, then market supply of the commodity will increase. When the existing firm of an industry are making huge profits, okay, so some new firms may enter that industry and the total production or supply will thus increase. Okay, suppose in the case of toothpaste, okay, there are so many firms who are producing toothpaste because they find that this is a necessity goods. Okay, we all need toothpaste. Okay, so there are so many firms who is competing in the production of the commodity, in the production of toothpaste. Okay, and they are going to they enter the industry, they enter the firm, only the motive is to earn profit. So larger the number of producer, larger the supply, larger the supply and the price, larger the competition and price. Lesser the number of producer, lesser the supply, lesser the competition. Okay, now next is future expectation. Okay, future expectation, generally when sellers expect price rise in future, they would like to reduce the present supply of their commodity. Okay student, this is a familiar term like future expectation. We all know when price of a commodity, okay, there is a shortage in demand or in supply of a commodity, like a commodity shortage, their supply shortage, then their price start increases because demand remain constant. Okay, in the case of onion, like most of the cases you see that the onion price increases. Okay, sometime onion prices reaches to 90 rupees or 100 rupees. This is because the demand is high and the supply of onion is short. So that's why the price of onion start increasing, because people demanding onion and the supply is low. So that's why it impacts the price. So price of the onion start increasing. To fulfill these demand, there is the producer have less amount of supply, they have low amount of onion, that's why they start increasing the price of the onion. So student, these are the factors. So we have 7 factors. Okay, you can go through with 7 factors. Okay student, that's it for today. We will meet in next video. We will study about supply schedule. Okay dear student.